Bisi Ogunjimi. Sincere apologies for the slight delay. We're trying to make it all good for you. Thank you for always staying tuned to Petals FM. Don't forget, you can catch us on Facebook right about now. Watch us live at Real Petals FM 102.3. Real Petals FM 102.3. That's us on Facebook. You can watch us live. You can also catch us on Radio Garden, Petals FM 102.3 FM. That's our handle. You can catch us on Radio Garden. You can also download the Petals FM app on your Play Store to listen to your favorite shows, music, and programs. Our website address, www.petalsfm1023.com, is live and running. Like I have been announcing, my guest, Mr. Adesumbo Badejoko, a public affairs analyst, is in the studio with me. Good morning, Mr. Adesumbo.
Good morning.
He said I shouldn't call you comrade, but I like the comrade. I like the comrade aspect of it.
I'm not a comrade.
All right, Mr. Adesumbo, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I will be taking my introduction to the program from a write-up by Solomon Ayado, published on the 2nd day of April, year 2020, on Business Day. I will quickly just take a summary of it before we begin to look at the issue at hand. It appears the establishment of zonal development commissions in the country has become a matter of serious politics, and concerns mount that the reasons these agencies were established are seemingly not being adequately achieved. The main motive behind the setup of the zonal commissions is generally to foster development in the geopolitical zones. This is because the zones have varied peculiar challenges. The commissions are designed and mandated to serve as a catalyst and to properly settle the numerous problems so as to enhance both socioeconomic and political stability. While some zones are faced with ecological and infrastructural problems, others are confronted with insecurity, lack of education, and agriculture, among others. One of such commissions is the Niger Delta Development Commission, which was established by President Olusegun Obasanjo in the year 2000 with the sole mandate of developing the oil-rich Niger Delta. In September 2008, President Umaru Yar'Adua announced the formation of the Niger Delta Ministry, with the Niger Delta Development Commission to become a parastatal under it. Let me go forward to other similar agencies that we have already. I think I have this one. On May 8, 2019, President Muhammadu Buhari inaugurated the board of the Northeast Development Commission. Northeast Development Commission, we have that one, and already I think we have the Northwest also. The Northwest is asking for, the Southwest is asking for, the Southeast is asking for, and this goes on and on. Mr. Badejoko, it looks like everyone just wants to have a development commission, regardless of the functionalities and the performance of these agencies. What's your take on this?
Actually, it's not that the regions are asking for the development commission. I think the federal government, in their own wisdom, is the one trying to pacify the tension and agitations coming from each of the regions with the establishment of the Development Commission. For instance, in the Southwest is not asking for a Development Commission.
Yeah, Senator Amoson asked for the establishment of one. That's the Southwest.
Not because we need that. What the Southwest wanted is regional autonomy. And setting up a development commission is not equal to having a regional autonomy. That has been the forefront of the Southwestern agitation. What the Southeast wants is not just regional autonomy, but outright inclusion in the stake of this nation. compensating them with a Southeast Development Commission may not really solve their problem. Even when this Niger Delta Development Commission was set up, it still did not stop the problem, because it came as a response to the crisis that started under the Abacha regime, when the Ogoni and the Ijaw groups were at each other's neck, and also fighting the oil companies, the international oil companies, and the federal government. And that was what led to the heavy deployment of military personnel in that region. So in order to pacify the tension and to compensate for the Ogoni Nine and some other people that had lost their life as a result of the crisis, President Obasanjo, in his wisdom in year 2000, sets up the Niger Delta Development Commission. But that did not stop vandalization and militancy, because you have almost immediately as a response a men coming up to start now vandalizing the pipelines and doing all manner of militancy in the Niger Delta again, despite having that commission in place. And it's had to take another intervention from President Yaradua to set up the amnesty program and also the establishment of the Ministry of Niger Delta. So that tells you that setting up a development commission is not going to solve, because you need to listen to what each of the region. The Niger Delta, for instance, wanted development. Now, you may say, yes, setting up of the commission is supposed to engender development, but the truth of the matter is, has it really done so in 24 years of its establishment? You have countless moribund projects on paper. You understand? Yet, millions and trillions of naira had been voted for those development costs, and yet you have nothing to show for it. Rather, it has become a cesspool of corruption and a cash cow to the leaders in that environment.
So it's more of a pacifying effort than a developmental one from the part of the federal government to the people.
Exactly. And job for the boys, if you want to look at it from another perspective, the political side. It will serve as we speak right now, as we are here in this studio, on the table of the Chief of Staff to the President and some other stakeholders, you would have countless of CV flying around. You will have so many politicians already lobbying to be included in the inaugural board of the Southwest Development Commission. And they are so in him, it's not because they are passionate about the development of the Southwest. As God will have it, whether anybody believes that or not, the Southwest still remains the most developed and sophisticated of all the regions that we have in the country. You understand? And that's why you can't have, for instance, programs like this. You find them more in abundance in the Southwest region. Go to other regions, you hardly find programs where national issues are discussed at this scale. Even in Abuja. Do you understand? So, that tells you the level of sophistication, political awareness, and all of that we have within the region. So it goes beyond thinking that you can now pacify. You need to listen to what the stakeholders wanted. They want a regional autonomy that will give them say over their destiny. Not that some people will sit in Abuja and begin to allocate, you understand, insufficient fund, despite all they get from the region. Will just return the two back, and some people will become shareholders. Our port facilities, for instance, how much of benefit is the region benefiting or getting from having such assets domiciled within their region? Who are those who cause the shots in the MPA, for instance? So when you look at all of this, it's not an answer to the question. Already on our home, we have a Dawn Commission set up by the southwestern states, which has been playing an advisory role, and the aim is to facilitate development within the region. You understand? But the weakness with Dawn Commission is that it doesn't have enforcing capacity, and it doesn't have that implementation power. They can only advise the government, who will now look at what they are bringing forward and see whether or not they can incorporate it into their budgets. But the NDDC, I mean the SWDC being proposed, will have such powers, you understand? Whether or not they will now not end up like the NDDC is another thing entirely. Or whether or not you will have some strangers who have nothing to do, because already the Ministry of Niger Delta has been modified to now be Ministry of Regional Development Commissions, meaning that you will have an Hausa man or an Igbira man or somebody else outside of a region that can still stampede whatever the commission is bringing forward, because he's a minister and he will have supervisory powers over each of these commissions. So that bottleneck will still be there. If you are going to do it and you want the commissions to actually be truly independent, then place them under the presidency and scrap the ministry, so that we will know that, yes, each region would take care of their own affair, dealing with whoever is the president. And if the president will decide to stampede, he's coming back to campaign for election in the region, then as a bloc, the region can now tell them, or tell him or her that, come, you have failed us in this regards, so forget about our support. So these are things that we should be looking at.
Now,
and
are you now advocating a regional autonomy as against these development commissions?
That is the way forward. That is what will bring out the true federalism that we have been asking for. Because in a true federalism, power evolves from the component unit to the center. The power resides in the only, what is it called now? Delegate the power to the center. Not that they will sacrifice their sovereignty 100%. But because if you look at our own story, we started up in that way in the First Republic. But then the military took over, enacted a Decree 34 that usurped the powers of the region and centralized it. And since that time, that decree has not been repealed. The regions have now been broken into pieces. Western region, for instance, is now 6 states. Western region as at the time of the military coup. As at the time of independence, the Western region of that time is now 8 states. But as at the time of the coup, it is now 6 states. So, and which just, they are just creation of the military. And they are not really an addition or maybe decision of the people, maybe through a referendum or something. So that's not how the states emerged, but how we started earlier. And that's why some people always say, yes, let's go back to 1963 Constitution. Why 1963, some people want to ask? It is because that is the only constitution that is 100% Nigerian. No influence of the military, no influence of the British government. It's just 100% Nigerian constitution. And that's the constitution that made us a federal republic.
But that would require a lot of amendments.
Of course, amendment will not even work. Amendment cannot work, because that is what we have been trying to do, which is not really working. It is actually going back to start again. When you are going in the wrong direction, it is not a bad idea for you to turn back to where you have missed your way.
But we must have moved away from a lot of the components of the 1963 Constitution.
We think we are pretending to believe that we have moved away. That is just the truth. Because why I say we are pretending is because we are adopting the creation of the military. And unfortunately, they still call the shots. Have you ever heard of the establishment? They are the ones. That is why no Nigerian president will not have problem with the NNPC, for instance. It is their baby. They control whoever is there. They own the cabal. Why can't we buy petrol for cheap here? No, because some people have created a structure in that place that cannot make that possible. How can we have 4 refineries and none is working? And yet, the custodian of the refinery will still prefer to import rather than operate their refinery. And yet you have reports, even with evidence, video evidence showing that some of these refineries are actually working, but they're just not working for Nigeria. You understand? So when you have that kind of thing in place, do you think compensation with the establishment of one commission will solve the problem? No. It will lead to further agitation. As we speak now, and there's a no Dua Republic or this thing in the United Nations asking for the recognition of the Odua nation. You understand? If they decide to look into it tomorrow, we may have a situation where, and if Nigeria will break, as some people are foreseeing, we can't form 3 countries like we had, or even 4. We can't form less than 6 for now. So when you now look at that, how do we now share the common asset if there is anything like such? Because what we had as at independence were regional assets.
Do you know that looking at the way government operates, you look at the MDAs, you look at all the parastatals, you look at the ministries, you see that the dictate of federal character is often, we want to believe that we follow the dictate by making sure that every political zone is represented in the peopling of these parastatals and the MDAs and the ministries. But were it to be, I don't want to use the word sinner now, climb, but were it to be a place where everything works and there is sincerity from the leadership, you don't think that this creation of zonal development commissions is supposed to serve the people better?
The issue or the idea of federal character has been a scam from the beginning, because that is what has slaughtered mediocrity on the altar of nepotism. And because of that, we have ended up recruiting wrong set of people into all these MDAs.
Because we want everyone to be represented.
You understand? You should give people opportunity based on their skills and capacity. In as much as this man will do the job, it doesn't matter if he's from one part of the country or if he's 90 years old. In as much as he's the one that will do the job, put in there. If you want your system to work, you do it the right way. You cannot do something in the wrong way and expect the right result. That has been the obvious pretense that has been happening in Nigeria. In Senate climb, as you wanted to say the other time.
I don't like using that word.
Now, take the United States, for instance. Former President Obama was born in the state of Hawaii. Hawaii is one state in the United States. Growing up, he moved to another country, moved around. He ended up in the state of Illinois. And when he will become a senator, he became a senator representing the state of Illinois. And that place, Chicago, became his identity, his home. You understand? Nobody talks about his birthplace or whatever, or that the fact that he's from Kenya and all of that. So, now here, my name is Adesumbo Barijoko. Obviously, you know that's the Yoruba name, have you? But
totally
some people will not be comfortable with me being a Yoruba. They still want to know which state are you from in the Southwest. You mentioned it, okay, I'm from Osun State. Which part of Osun are you from? You understand? They want to go to the roots. And not because they love you or they are interested in your history. It's because they want to know where they will hold on to or what they can use against you. You understand? And so we have that thing in hand. That's why even within the regions there are agitation. Within the states there are still agitation. And some people would think they have this sense of ownership, that they own the state more than. For instance, in Oyo now, why will it be impossible for somebody that is not from Ibadan to be the governor?
To be the governor.
You understand? Why should it be a taboo
I think the creation of Oyo State and Ibadan State will probably solve that.
And that will not see the light of the day.
You think so?
I know so.
All right, let's move away from there. Let me quickly take this one. Lawmakers divided over the funding, the source of funding for the newly created zonal development commissions. That's another issue entirely.
Yeah, why wouldn't they
because
be divided?
It's just like you said, it's been a cesspit of corruption. Look at the NDDC, see what happened. And who was the chairman of this commission at the time that corruption, that Ponde, Mr.
Pandy.
Yes, off the mic. Who was the chairman? The
think
chairman then is now the Senate president.
No, he was the minister.
He was the minister, yes, the minister, sorry. Now he's the Senate president. So what happened? How do we just end up bastardizing these things that are supposed to be for our development and growth?
It's a system that we operate. That's why I said we cannot continue to pretend about the core issue. Like the president is pretending when the patriots went to him that come, you are just battling with economic reform. We want to build something on nothing. Let's have a political reform. That should form the substructure that your superficial superstructure will be standing on. If you don't address this, it's like wanting to erect a skyscraper on a sandy soil. You're just joking. That's what has been happening. So coming up with all these, that's why I say it's just, it has been a scam from the beginning. It's another attempt to scam the people, create jobs for the boys, pacify some things and all of so, but it is not going to meet the needs of the people. You listen to those people. The Yorubas will say, you cannot say you understand my terrain more than I do. It's not possible. And funny enough, at the state level, something similar happens. Why would the governors not leave local government alone? You understand? Why would the man in Agodi believe that, yes, he knows what the people of Ijayi is in need of? Yes, Ijayi is so close to Ibadan, but you still believe at the same time you understand what the people of Igbo,
At Isbo.
you understand, needs. It's just pretense. Let the community, that is what runs in the UK, for instance, where the Shire determines the operation of the council. You understand? It is what operates in the US, where the county is determined by those who are in that vicinity. And they have their autonomous, they collect the taxes, they utilize it, they even give, it's easier for them to give accounts within their locality than to say you expect the man in Abuja to be giving account to the people in Ogunwater side, for instance. So it's just mere pretense. We need to really put things in proper perspective.
Mr. Badejoko, I think it's not about the kind of solutions that we have to our problems in this country. I think it's more of how we carry out these solutions, how sincere we are. Because now you're talking about regional autonomy. Even when we declare and we have regional autonomy that we are looking for, you know, some people believe that it's probably not going to still work because the foundation is faulty. There is corruption everywhere.
The reason is because those who are asking for it, we have attempted series of systems. We can say this is how we are fed when we had this. This is how we fed when we had this.
Yes.
You understand? We would want to go to the one that we think felt much better. For instance, we are still talking about Awolowo in 2024. Awolowo was in power between 1954 and 1960. That's 6 years. That was when he was in power. But he was able to do what became lasting imprint. That even though the terrain he governed is now being governed by 8 different individuals, but their achievements is still not as echoing as the ones they left behind. Why can't we have another state putting up something similar to Cocoa House? Okay, now you are understanding me better. Now, Cocoa House was built using regional assets, regional resources. Not that anybody was dictating to them. Understand? Even that we have regional police system. The only thing we do not have was a regional army. But we have that autonomy in place. The regions had their embassies. You understand? For instance, the Nigerian house in UK today belonged to the region, Western region. It became a Nigerian house when the powers of the region were taken over. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean that Awolowo would disrespect the prime minister, no. You understand that when we see had Robertson as the Governor General, he never disrespected him. But the fact that the law has given them the powers to do things on their own, and what we had then, rather than agitation, were regional competition. Okay, I will always put up a radio station. You quickly put up your own in your region. I set up a university in Ife. Quickly put your own in Zaria. You understand? These are things that were happening, and that competition was equal to development.
So why don't you think that these zonal development commissions can work and serve the same purpose?
Because the federal government will still be calling the shots. They will still be the piper dictating the tune. You understand? For instance, why can Governor Makinde not have control over the marbles in Nigbeti? Why can't Governor Adeleke not have control over the gold in Ilesha? You understand what I'm saying now? So when you don't, and what do we have? You have miners come into the state with mining licenses that have been gotten from Abuja, and they will come because they have a backing of the federal. They will come with security, terrorizing the locals. And when the locals get tired, they take up arms and begin to revolt against them. That is the origin of Samvara episode. You understand? That is the problem. But if it had been the state governor, the investors or the mining company will approach him. He in turn will take them to the community. My people, speak the native language that they will understand. You see, these people, they have something they need here. They will set up a company. Your children that are qualified will be employed.
And they will pay
and
taxes.
They will pay. Now, whatever money is generated from that place, because they have residents under the payroll, the money, a fraction of it, a larger part, will stay in that economy. Nobody. That was why Paper Mill and the rest of them made the likes of Jeba to be on the map. You understand? But when those things disappeared due to negligence by the new owner who could not control them, they went moribund. Now those towns became shadows of themselves.
Because nothing is happening.
Nothing, no economic activity, and you now have migration. People will survive. They have to move to where they will be able to fend for themselves. So you now have all the cities being clustered. And when you have too many people, miscreants, egghead, good head, bad ones, you have all form of conflict of interest, crime and all that will be taking place.
Do you know, Mr. Badejoko, sometimes I just sit down and wonder if all these issues that we raise as commentators, I just wonder if we are the only ones seeing it this way. Because all these development commissions that we are establishing, they have members, they have people. And these people are from these regions that we're talking about. The Southwest Commission that is being planned now, other commissions being planned, are going to be peopled by people from these regions. Why are they not seeing that this is not the solution to the problem?
Because a good number of them have never lived in the region. They lack basic understanding. In fact, they've lost touch with the realities on ground. They only carry the identity that they are from the place. They are not really in tune with what is on ground.
Like
why? Because
abroad.
Exactly, like what we have currently in some of these MDAs, and the fact that there will also be conflict of interest, and the fact that we would put them there on nepotic ground and not on merit. So all these things will work against each other, and the major problem is the bureaucracy that will now wrap around it.
Is there anything we will get correctly in this country?
We can get a lot of things correctly. It's just a matter of us deciding.
So when are we going to decide? That is the question. When are we ever going to be able to decide? Are we ever going to develop that political will to want to do something right? Because it's not like they don't know. I don't want to fool myself and believe that these people don't know. Sometimes they even know better than us.
Exactly. But what is preventing them is their inability to put national interests above personal interests. And it's because we have a heavily monetized system. But there are some measures that we can take now today that will begin to adjust things naturally. For instance, if we will adjust our electoral act to give room for independent candidature, that in a way, on its own rather, would weaken the influence of the political parties in determining the choice of the people. You understand? Because if I know that, well, my interest does not align with the agenda of this party or the people there, I can stand alone. And if I know I have the capacity to run a campaign within that locality and get myself elected, I don't need the party. And once I get myself elected, I'll be more accountable to the people, not party men or stakeholders or godfather. You understand? And by so doing, I would be more in touch, and people will not be electing strangers. Because if you are going to that community, they don't know you. Not that a party just presents you. And because they have structure on ground for their party, they put money there. They will support the stranger, and the stranger gets elected. But and they will not go there to advance their interest in any way.
You don't think it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to run an independent campaign if you're not a money bag yourself?
Let me give you an instance. If Peter Obi, in the last election, if we had independent candidature in the system, he wouldn't have joined
Labour Party.
The obedient movement would have been the structure. The fact that they have to work with a party brought them into Labour Party, and you see that obvious lack of synergy, which affected them going into the election. And that's the more reason why they couldn't perform more than that. But when it was a movement, you can see the force behind it. You understand what I'm saying? That was what brought Macron into power. It was a movement. What we will be having in place of the party will be movement. So in as much as you have the capacity to lead a movement, it is your like minds that will come in. There's something called crowdfunding.
Yes.
That will take care of those things that you're talking about. You understand? Because people donate. For instance, if you have a constituency of 1 million people, if each of them will be able to give you 1,000 naira, that is 100 million, 1 billion rather. What kind of campaign do you want to run with 1 billion for a constituency election that you will even not have surplus left over?
Do you know that? Do you know that we've had cases of this GoFunding and crowdfunding that ended up in chaos? Because corruption.
Management became difficult.
Yes.
That we have a political party standing as impediment. You understand? The movement that raised the fund were not in full control of the campaign.
The program is The Polity with Bisi Ogunjimi. I am in the studio with Mr. Adesumbo Badejoko, a public affairs analyst, and together we are looking at the impact of zonal development commissions vis-a-vis the purpose of their creation. If you want to join the conversation, you can call the studio lines 08022889507 or 09124250426, 08022889507 or 09124250426. Mr. Badejoko believes that a regional autonomy is what we should push for, saying that all these zonal development commissions are just job for the boys. They are more of pacifying the zones. Some zones don't even need pacification.
Like the Southwest.
But you are not going to be politically correct if you say that.
I don't have to be politically correct, in as much as I am correct.
Okay. Because we all need, once it has to do with Nigeria, whatever is good for the goose or is good for the gander.
In that way, what other regions like those in the north?
Do we have a call? Hello?
Yes.
Good morning, Mr. Toye Brown.
Yeah, well done, Bisi.
Thank you.
Well done to Mr. Badejoko, am I correct?
Yes, very correct.
Yeah, Mr. Badejoko, wonderful delivery this morning from you. I am so impressed with your delivery this morning. Yes, this regional autonomy is the way to go. The last time we showed leadership and even growth was during the regional government. There was then competition. There was, like he rightly said, the Southwest was already, advanced. In fact, I kept telling people, I said, we got independence because of the Southwest and not any other region. This country got independence, even though whether it's good or bad about independence, of course, we are celebrating 64 years independence. I don't know where we are, but the truth is, I don't know what the truth is.
We are where we are.
We got independence. Yeah, we are where we are. We got independence because the Southwest was grown. You have the first radio station, you have the first TV station, you have Cocoa House. So many things were happening. The East came, the Southeast region came in. And so the North was also, people are growing on their own pace. I mean, you have the cocoa here, you have other things, you have the granite in the pyramids and the head and skin and so on. You have the palm oil and the coal in the Southeast and so on. So there was growth. People were working on their own. You organize things for your people. Let me tell you, check in the world, go to the Middle East, go to the South, go to the Asian countries, go to the Europe itself. Most of the countries understand themselves. Those countries, they can be 10 million people, they can be 15 million, they can be 20. It's a country because they have the same culture, the same, tradition and so on. They understand themselves. They do things by themselves. It's like one family. The family understands themselves. They trust in each other. So that's the only way to go. So this issue of having this big elephant we call Nigeria that is so big that we can't eat it whole. Let's cut the thing into pieces, into group of management where each federating unit can manage their themselves and maybe on regional governance. Just like the substation has said. That is only if we begin to think of that no matter whatever you put on ground today, no matter whatever economic structure you put on ground today, no matter whatever, if we do not agree on how to manage ourselves, a system of government that can favor us, we are not going to make any headway. That is the truth. Just like he said. I mean, the regional committee, I remember when...
So, Mr. Brown, you don't support... Mr. Brown, so you don't support the establishment of these zonal development commissions too?
I said, you remember we discussed about it last time. I remember we discussed about the general commission. I said, well, it's a good thing, but it's a job for the boys. I said it's good. I mean, you don't have the Niger Delta Commission, Northeast Commission, but like he rightly said, regional commission, zonal regional commission, it will be piloted. It will be headed by one man in Abuja. Not that who will now maybe under a ministry of regional, I don't know, under ministry of regional government, regional commission, and that yes, well, it will be it might be under one ministry of regional commission. Who will tell you? It could be outer man who will tell you what is happening. It could be Igbo man who will tell you, look, you have not developed my place. You want to go and develop Sahara Desert. It can be one Yoruba man will say, listen, that we see that presidential.
We have to take this development to Oshogo.
So yeah, exactly. The truth is, let's break this thing down. Look at the Oshogo really means. So if we decide how to manage ourselves and take that decision to say, listen, don't mind whether the East is saying something. 1 minute. Whether the North is saying something or the East is saying something or the Yoruba, let's forget about what they say and take a decision and say this is the way we have to lead ourselves. And that's all.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Atoya Brown. 0022889507 or 09124250426. 08022889507 or 09124250426. Those are the numbers to call. My guest, Mr. Adesumbo Badejoko, a public affairs analyst, is still in the studio with me. And together we have looked at the impact of zonal development commissions vis-a-vis the purpose of creation. I maintain, Mr. Badejoko, that it is the same problem that has been plaguing this country. And when I say this country, I mean all our efforts at development and growth. It's the same thing, the same problem that's been plaguing us that would even plague further the introduction of or the reversal to the regional autonomy.
We may think like that because the reversal will reverse everything. It's not just the political structure. It will reverse our orientation too. And once there's that change of mindset, now the governors have an excuse to point to the top that yes, this is the allocation we got from the federal and all of that. But by the time everything is reversed and they are in full control, that what they give is royalty to Abuja. One, Abuja will lose his he will lose the interest of people in it. The interest will reverse back to the locals.
The concentration
you understand?
On Abuja will reduce.
During the region, the civil service in Western region were more paid. They earn higher than those of the federal government in Lagos. It was like that. Though you have some state now trying to like prove that they can pay more than 70,000 minimum wage, you understand? But that was the structure then. And you have a station, instead of brain drain, people study abroad. They come back here
to work,
to come and help develop the region because they have a sense of belonging. So when you, that is what will be reversed. Though a lot has gone wrong. But if, for instance, we say, okay, if you not grant regional autonomy as the right class suggested, let's break into pieces. Breaking into pieces will only empower people like us. Because already, whether anybody believes us or not, we are elites, automatic elite of the new republic. You understand? And all the strangers in the land will have to go to their own country and plenty of vacancy, voila. Some people would be in short of human capital, like the regions in the north, because they have refused to educate their people. They rather put them on a Limajiri program and they are now constituting nuisance, which has become national problem because we are fused together. You understand? But they will have to now go and get expatriate, which some of the people from Moja region will now become. But here, we already have enough people to run the system. So all we need to do is remove the rots. And then we start. And people will now be more accountable because nowhere to point to again. You are the one in charge. What excuse will the governor in Oyo State give me if I know he controls Zimbabwe in Igbeti? And he's telling me the federal government, there is not going to be that excuse.
There's no federal government anywhere.
Understand?
So
there will be, but it is the ultimate power will reside with them. They will only just be entrusting. So the president will be having that recognition and authority as the commander-in-chief, but the kind of power he wields right now, for instance, the Nigerian president within Nigeria is more powerful than the American president within the US. It's just that he has a global recognition, and the country as a whole, United States of America, is a powerful nation. And he's leading that powerful nation. That's why he looks powerful outside of the country. But within the country, the governor of Texas can tell him to go to hell. You understand? And they have their independent Supreme Courts in their states.
They do.
We have that in the regions before.
But we don't have it anymore.
It's
it's always interesting when we call for a reversal to this regional system of governance, really, because I just look like, haven't we moved away from a lot of things?
Because we are pretending. For instance, over the years, the military and their people who have benefited from them had given us a system that only favors the north. They have 19 states, we have 17. So if you want to decide anything in the National Assembly, they already outnumber the South because they have 6 extra senators plus the one in Abuja, making 7. Just one makes a difference. But we are not talking about 7. They can use that majority to decide. And that's why some of the quality legislations that have been made or amendment that have been made to the Constitution did not scale through. State policing, for instance, why is it all impossible for us to have a state police? or for the National Assembly to legislate on it.
Because some people don't want
it. And they have the numbers.
I think we have to go. Thank you so much, Mr. Adesumbo Badejoko. Mr. Badejoko is a public affairs analyst, and we have looked at the impact of zonal development commissions vis-a-vis the purpose of their creation. Many thanks to everyone who listened. Till I come your way again next week, my name is Bisi Ogunjimi. Please enjoy the rest of today. Thank you.